What if Tanjiro was a prodigy? Part 4. Man, y'all smashed the like goal. I asked for 40 likes for part 4, and y'all got to 80. So, let's get to 50 for part 5 since y'all doubled it last time. Let's see if you can double it again. Anyway, I'm the Dragon Lord. Like, subscribe if you like my content. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat. You'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs and go tick tick. Boom, you gon' leave that head missing. I'm a phenomenon. Stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn. And I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like it's Ramadan. Sick, twisted, gifted. Can't copy printed. Can't hold me down. I shape shift, I'm liquid. I killed this beat. I might get convicted. They know how I move.
Tanjiro, Rengoku, Zenitsu, and Inosuke would be training together. Tanjiro would be learning flame breathing from Rengoku, while Rengoku would be learning sun breathing or Hinokami Kagura from Tanjiro. Sadly, Tanjiro could not learn anything else about the Hinokami Kagura because Rengoku's father had torn up the pages, which was sad, but he didn't let it deter him. He thought of all of his father's words, all of the movements his father made, and he thought of all of the techniques, and he tried figuring them out, but it was still hard for him to do. It's not something you can just do on a whim. Anyway, Tanjiro figured out that he would just learn them through combat, and they got their missions anyway, so it was perfect timing. They got told to go through villages, and they went to that village. They would fight many demons, Rengoku showing some of the uses of flame breathing and some of the other ways you could use breathing styles. Stuff that only Hashira would know because of their experience. This made Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro really respect Rengoku, and they learned a lot from him, so all around, pretty good deal. They kept going on missions, and eventually they found a demon which was stronger than the rest, about the same level as Rui was. And Rengoku said that this would be a good test. Now, Tanjiro already beat Rui pretty easily, so, and he knew that, Rengoku knew that, so he decided to let Zenitsu and Inosuke fight this demon. Inosuke and Zenitsu, they fight this demon, and at first they're struggling. They're not, well, not struggling, but they're not getting it easy because this demon is fast. And then eventually Zenitsu, he falls asleep because he got scared, and then he just instantly beats the demon. And Inosuke is mad because he kind of realizes that he's behind on everybody. Before, he was the second strongest, right behind Tanjiro, because Tanjiro is just way out of their league. But now Zenitsu has caught up and surpassed Inosuke, and Inosuke is kind of mad, and he just wants to be stronger than Zenitsu. So instead of fighting Tanjiro most of the time or challenging Tanjiro, he challenges Zenitsu a lot, which Zenitsu doesn't like. He's pretty scared of Inosuke, but sleeping Zenitsu is, of course, not phased at all. But Rengoku, he sees this and he tells Inosuke that he can still get stronger. He just needs to find what's blocking his actual strength because something is holding him back. He's not fighting at full strength, and Rengoku realized this. Now, Inosuke doesn't know what's holding him back, so they don't figure it out. But months go by, about 4 months, and they keep killing demon, and it's at this point that Tanjiro has killed well over 100 demons. So they get called back to Ubuyashiki's mansion, and he actually promotes Tanjiro to Hashira, and he makes him the Sun Hashira because of the Hinokami Kagura. Now at this point, Rengoku also kind of knows sun breathing, not to an extent where he should use it over his flame breathing, but to the extent where if he needs a move that does more damage than his flame breathing, then he can rely on that. And Tanjiro has already pretty much he's well on his way to master flame breathing. So that means that Tanjiro is about to be able to use three breathing styles: water, flame, and sun breathing. Now, Tanjiro learns way faster than, for example, someone like Rengoku because he has been using sun breathing, which is way more taxing on the body than any other breathing style. And because of him using sun breathing, flame breathing doesn't affect him that much. So he could basically use the actual breathing technique pretty fast. So all that was left for him was to learn the moves and how to use them. And over those 4 months, he saw Rengoku fight as well. So he learned pretty well how versatile flame breathing is. Now, Tanjiro, he gets made the Sun Hashira. Now, not only does he get promoted to Hashira, but Zenitsu also gets promoted to Hashira. He gets promoted to the Thunder Hashira or the Lightning Hashira, but we're going to go with Thunder Hashira. And he's surprised. Zenitsu is definitely very surprised. He didn't see this coming. He was confused. He was like, wait, why did I get promoted to Hashira? I didn't kill any demons. Now, Zenitsu doesn't know this, but in his sleep he has killed well over 50 demons, which is the minimum requirement. And Inosuke, he's kind of sitting there as well, like very excitedly, because he wants to be a Hashira as well. But sadly, he hasn't gotten the minimum requirement yet. That's how far behind he is on the others. He hasn't killed enough demons. Now he gets mad and he just runs off on his own. And he says that he's gonna train on his own and that he's gonna kill demons on his own and do missions on his own because he can't learn from Rengoku, or anything Rengoku has been teaching him hasn't been going well for him. It just doesn't fit his style of fighting. He's more of a rough, tough, wild boar, literally. And, the dignified flame breathing doesn't really work well for him. And Zenitsu, he has already mastered the first technique of thunder breathing to the point where he has made a seventh form, or for thunder breathing, which only has six forms. So he's definitely already on that Hashira level because most Hashira have made a new form for their techniques. Now, Tanjiro does get the most praise from Ubayashiki because of his explosive growth. Now, the Hashira tier list has been updated because the strongest Hashira, which was Gyome, is no longer the strongest Hashira. Now it's definitely Tanjiro and Rengoku. They're about on equal footing because of their training together. They work that well together now. Like they're that much in sync, Tanjiro and Rengoku. They're so much in sync now that if they were to fight together, Akaza wouldn't be a problem. That's the level they're at now. That's at least what Rengoku thinks. Now, Ubuyashiki is very impressed with all of the demon slayers like Tanjiro, Rengoku, Inosuke, and he's just impressed with all of them because all of the underlings from the Hashira have been receiving new training, which was kind of designed by Tanjiro and kind of designed by Rengoku together, where they would be much stronger. And it's really been showing progress because a lot of Demon Slayers have been rising the ranks, and a lot of them have been able to beat lower moon level demons. Tanjiro does get a gift from Rengoku. He gets his own little flame guard for his sword. The reason why Rengoku gives Tanjiro this is because he respects Tanjiro enough to where he let it customly be made, and it's the flame resembles that of the shining sun, so it's very nice of Rengoku to do that, and Tanjiro, he respects it and he loves the gift. So he asks his blacksmith to reforge his sword because it did get damaged from a fight with a demon. So he asks him to repair his sword and get the new guard on. So for the next 2 weeks, he's just sitting in at the Ubuyashiki mansion, or closer to that, the Butterfly Mansion, where Rengoku, him, the Butterfly Hashira, Kanoe, and some other people are training together. Now, Nezuko, she's actually fine now. She can come out into the sun, which was a real surprise, but she can come out and she's actually been training with them and she's been working on her demon blood art. And Tanjiro figured out this thing where if Nezuko's blood is on his blade and, she activates it, his blade turns red. And he did this with a Nichiren that he borrowed because, of course, his sword is still getting repaired. But he did this with a Nichiren that he borrowed, and it was quite surprising to Tanjiro because he thought that he didn't have a red blade, a crimson red blade. He thought that he only had a normal blank blade, which was the one that is not really used by a lot of people, or the people that use those, they don't know what's going to happen to them. Their like entire story is vague. Now, Tanjiro continues training with Rengoku and all of them. His sword gets delivered to him. It has a slight different pattern on it. It still has the little flowers on it, but they changed position. And the blacksmith, he doesn't know what happened. He says that it could be because of him having a certain other metal mixed in with his actual Nichiren blade. And Tanjiro is confused by this, and then the blacksmith says, when you chose your metal, there was little chunks of an unknown metal in that metal. And because of that, we think you get those flower patterns, but it's alright. It doesn't really change the proficiency of the blade that much. Now, Tanjiro, he uses it, and then he asks Nezuko if she could pour her blood on it, and then he tries to activate the red blade. When he activates it, however, the red petals that are on his blade, they turn black, and the blade turns red, so the colors get inversed. And he's confused by this, but he finds it awesome. And he continues, training, and basically they stay there for a month, so 5 months have in total passed since their beginning of their training. They continue going on missions, and it's now Zenitsu, Rengoku, and Tanjiro. Inosuke has run off on his own. Now, Tanjiro and Zenitsu, they are progressively getting better and better at their sword techniques, at their breathing styles, at everything. And Zenitsu, especially him, he's getting stronger. His thunder breathing, he's learning the other moves slowly, but only because of Tanjiro's assistance, because he showed Tanjiro the moves and Tanjiro told him to how to change it a bit. Now, the interesting part is that Zenitsu, his actual growth is so impressive that he isn't scared of fighting demons anymore. He felt the difference in his body. So basically, most demons he'll fight awake, but some demons, like upper moon level demons, he'll still pass out for because he's too scared. But he's a lot stronger than, you know, he was. Now, they keep training, and Tanjiro has gotten a lot stronger. Now, because of his Hashira level, he gets quite the allowance, we should say, but he also gets his own mansion and estate, so it's quite pleasing to him. And thing is, now he has his own mansion and he usually hangs out there, but he set it up to where people can train there. He wanted to make it so that people can train, become stronger. And because of his Hashira status, he can also take on disciples and people under him, underlings, workers, however you want to call it. And he gets a few medical staff gifted to him the by Shinobu, the butterfly Hashira, and he gets a lot of people that want to be his disciple and that want to learn sun breathing. Now he chooses a select few that he thinks will do well. Now the he chooses four disciples basically, and they're named Nanao, Tachiko, Sumoyoshi, and Tiroko. Now, he chooses these four disciples because he feels like they can actually use sun breathing or flame breathing or water breathing. Now, he teaches them the basics and he writes down everything he knows about sun breathing. Now, he teaches Nano and Tachiko the first two techniques because they got the breathing under control. They still get a fever and stuff because their body isn't used to it, but They get the first two techniques from Tanjiro, and he tells them, "You guys train these two first techniques. Once you get them down to a crisp, I'll teach you the rest." And the problem is, Yoshi and Chiriko, they have struggled. Their breathing isn't really working for them, but they're still trying to work on it. Now, Tanjiro leaves to do missions with Rengoku and Zenitsu, but he gives them basically a journal of how they should train, and they have people like the medical staff and people who clean. He tells them, watch them, that they don't overdo it, and if they make mistakes, like, he does all the poses very slowly, and he tells them if they make any mistakes, you can correct them if you want. Now, he leaves, and basically 3 months go by where he is just going past the countryside with Rengoku and Zenitsu. Now, they basically just kill more demons. They really get a lot of experience, and they just train together. There's really not a lot going on besides the fact that he is able to, use sun breathing constantly now. That's all that's changed. His body is completely adapted to it, and he has no problem now. Zenitsu, however, he's getting well on his way to actually learning the other techniques from thunder breathing. With the help of Tanjiro, he has been able to do it, and Rengoku has actually made new forms for flame breathing himself, combining them with sun breathing, which is already not an easy thing. Now, Tanjiro, he has already thought of ways to combine breathing styles. Now, he combined water breathing with sun breathing because water breathing has better defense while sun breathing has better offense. And he tried mixing in flame breathing as well, but his body can't handle that yet because it's too much strain on his lungs and just on his body in general. But he did think of a way to, use all three at once. And the way he would do it is if he would take short breaths, not the normal long breath that he would normally take. He would take short breaths, and because of that, he would be able to use all three breathing styles for 1 minute. And he tried this on a group of demons that were plaguing a town, and in an instant, he would just kill all of them. Like, to the point where Rengoku couldn't see his moves, neither could Zenitsu. That's how fast he moved. Now, Rengoku, he would mix flame breathing with sun breathing, and he would be a lot stronger. And Zenitsu, he would just keep thunder breathing, because he can't use flame breathing. He has been trying, but he can't, and sun breathing is out of the question for him. So he just decided to stick with thunder breathing, but the techniques of the other sword styles or the other breathing styles, he has been studying them to see if he could do anything with those, and he can. He has been able to use them to make himself stronger, or more versatile, as you should say, and it's made him quite a bit stronger. Now, on their way back to Tanjiro's mansion, right, they find a familiar face. They find Inosuke. Now, Inosuke, he is a bit more beefy. He has more muscles, and he says that he got called back to Ubiyashiki's mansion, so they follow him. And Inosuke actually gets promoted to the Beast Hashira. Now, Tanjiro, Rengoku, and Zenitsu, they congratulate him, and then Ubuyashiki says the amount of demons that Inosuke has slain, and Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Rengoku, their jaws kind of drop, because in those 3 to 4 months that Inosuke was gone, he killed over 200 demons. Now, Inosuke, he's just sitting there with pride, he's showing off. And Tanjiro asks if they could spar because he would like to see how much stronger Inosuke has gotten, and they do spar. And to Tanjiro's surprise, Inosuke is actually able to keep up with him. He's able to block most of Tanjiro's strikes and actually counterattack, and he's actually giving Tanjiro a hard time. Now, Inosuke says that he's always been training in the wild, so for his beast breathing to get stronger, he should just continue training in the wild or as a wild beast, not as somebody who practices sword forms for hours. Now, Tanjiro could definitely see that Inosuke got a lot stronger to the point where he's pretty equal with Zenitsu because Tanjiro is still way stronger than him. He still knocks Inosuke out. Now, Tanjiro's mark that he had actually kind of changed a bit. It looks a bit more like Yoruichi's. It's still not completely there, but it looks a bit more like Yoruichi's mark. And Inosuke commented on that first thing. And Rengoku and Zenitsu, they kind of got used to seeing Tanjiro a lot, so the change for them, they didn't really notice it. And Ubiyashiki, he can't see, so he doesn't know. And Tanjiro, he himself doesn't know either, so he says, well, I don't know. Could just be that, he got hit on his head or something. Now, that's what he says, but Inosuke, he doesn't buy it, but they just leave it be and they continue on. Now, the remaining 4 months, they basically just go out on missions again with Inosuke going with Zenitsu and Tanjiro going with Rengoku. They found that this was probably the best course of action. Now, for 4 months, they just killed demons, and they killed a lot of demons, saved a lot of people, and trained people too. Tanjiro's four disciples that he had, they all of them have gotten to the point where they can use four techniques of sun breathing and they can use sun breathing. So Tanjiro says that they should be ready for the final selection exam, so they go take the final selection again this exam. Now Tanjiro, he waits at his mansion because he's anxious. He needs to know if his students made it. Now, there is a total of 36 participants in the final selection this time, with a few Hashira disciples and, actually Tanjiro's disciples as well. Now, Tanjiro waits, and after 2 days, his disciples are back, all four of them. Now, Sumiyoshi, he is hurt, but he was the weakest out of all of them, and the others, they have nothing. They're unscathed. And it's the report that they gave back to Tanjiro that, surprised them because they had killed 50% of all the demons on the mountains. And it's that made Tanjiro quite surprised because 50% of the demons, he had slain over 80%, but that was still, or basically all of the demons Tanjiro had slayed basically all of them. But they had saved many demon slayers who were about to die because of demon stacks, but sadly, out of the 36, only 25 were able to make it out. So Tanjiro was sad, but he said that they did a good job. Now, they got their Nitrin blades, and the thing is, they got the same blacksmith as Tanjiro does, which is quite a surprise. And Tanjiro's blacksmith, he's very happy that, he gets to make the blades for, Tanjiro's disciples, because Tanjiro is a Hashira now, so he has to give a lot of respect to Tanjiro. Now, Sumiyoshi's blade turns red, which everybody is surprised by. Now, Tirika's blade turns gray, not black, gray, kind of like Inosuke's gray, but not completely. Noah's blade turns a nice orange yellowy, and Tachiko's blade turns black, just like how Tanjiro's does. Now, the blacksmith, he's well glad with this because, he has seen a red blade, a orange yellowish blade, a gray blade, and then of course black blade, and he knows that a black blade isn't always bad, and that they could still become red, just like how Tanjiro's became red after mixing it with Nezuko's blood. Now, speaking of Nezuko, she is strong. Like, she's on Tanjiro level strong. She has always fought alongside her brother, and if she was a Hashira, she'd be the demon Hashira, but Ubuyashiki hasn't made her a Hashira, so that's sad. But she is part of the Demon Slayer Corps, and she has no urge to eat humans. She even has gone through her transformation, where she gets one horn, but she does not attack humans. She sees all of them kind of as family, and because of that, she doesn't, attack them. Now, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke, they would meet up. Now, Rengoku, he's on a mission on his own. He heard rumors of a upper moon demon, somewhere in some mountains, so he's on a mission going there. Now, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, they would meet up at the Butterfly Hashira because, they would talk with Aoi, who would, do a checkup on their bodies because they have been getting hurt without a lot of rest. So Aoi was going to do a checkup on them. Now, they get there and they meet the Wind Hashira, Tengen. Now, Tengen sees, he's basically abducting the girls, right? And Tanjiro sees this and intervenes. Same with Zenitsu and Inosuke, and Tengen, he sees this and he knows that he can't take on Tanjiro and the others, and he lets go of the girls and he asks them why they interfered, and Tanjiro says that they cannot be taken on missions because they're not strong. They would pretty much, die. So Tengen says, well, I need pretty girls for this mission. And then Tanjiro, he knocks on his, he puts down his wooden box and he knocks on it. And out comes Nezuko. And Nezuko is a pretty girl, so Tengen says, she'll do. And then Tanjiro, does one more thing. He takes the boar hat off of Inosuke and he says, and he just points. And Tengen says, all right, fair. And basically, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Nezuko, they all get taken to, go work on finding a demon that's been hiding in the entertainment district. But that will be for part 5 of What If Tanjiro Was a Prodigy. And if you guys want that part, goal of 50 likes, as I said in the beginning of the video. Now, if you guys enjoyed this part, I know it's a bit shorter than the other parts, but it's still 26 minutes, so don't kill me. Now, if you guys like this part, do like and subscribe. And with that out of the way, my name's the Dragon Lord. Join the Discord if you want to, but I'm signing out.
Tell me a story.
There was once a pale man with dark hair who was very lonely.
Why was it lonely?
All things must meet this man, so they shunned him.
Did he chase them all?
He took an axe and split himself in two, right down the middle.
So he would always have a friend.
So he would always have